Hello there, and welcome to Valheim. I'm Father Roderick, and I have built a nice little hobbit town that I am eager to share with you. If this is the first time you watch this channel, or you've just been looking for live streams, or you're watching this maybe later, and you would like to get some more inspiration for your own Valheim builds, then welcome. I hope you enjoy what I do. There's much more to see on this channel, so take a look around on the YouTube channel. If you like what you see, consider subscribing. And if you like this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up or leave a comment. And of course, you're very welcome to ask me questions during the live stream. Of course, if you're watching this later, you can still post your questions and I'll answer them when I get to reviewing the comments. So I've been playing Valheim for about a year now, and it's one of my favorite games. Actually, if I count the number of hours that I spent in this Viking world, it's probably my biggest hobby, at least for the past year. And I've played through all the main stages of the game, so I've got to the top level in terms of gear, and beat all the bosses, and then the fun actually begins, because that's when you can start, building for real. And so that's what I've been doing. And one of my dreams, one of my, well, the first time I walked around in Valheim was like, well, this feels like Middle Earth. And so my long-time dream has been to create something that looks a bit or feels a bit like a town, a Lord of the Rings type of town. So that's what I did. You're looking at a hill. I had to find an appropriate spot that would at least resemble a little bit the contours of Hobbiton, so I could create these little hobbit holes. And here in the distance you can see the various levels of the town. Now, for some reason, I am unable to see the comments right now, so I'm not sure if you are trying to tell me anything. Maybe it's because my screen... there we go. Now I can see. I had the software malconfigured, so I've got Kingdom Thora 20, and he's recovering from a wound, I think, so I hope you're feeling better soon. Anyway, let's get off my digital behind and let me show you around. So, here we are. First of all, this is a little pond, and a bridge over the pond leads to the entrance. I'll show you later on what's behind me. First of all, I want to cross the pond here, and we will start to explore the first layer of Hobbit homes. It was very difficult to create something that has those round contours of Hobbit homes, because of course the Hobbit holes in Hobbiton are built into the hills, which you cannot really do in, at least for now, you can't do that in Valheim. So I had to kind of more or less simulate builds against the rock, and then add a lot of greenery so it would still feel a little bit like Hobbit architecture. Now, one thing I did use here a lot is flowers, bushes, or fruits, little decoration items like a chair, a table, and here on the left, of course, what do you call this? Something to carry your beer and your groceries from the market to the entrance of your home. In order to create the circular entrance, I used the portals, and these are all non-active portals, but it does give you that nice round circle, which is otherwise impossible to do with the wooden elements of the game, because you can only set them in a certain, various angles, but you can't make something really circular, at least not in a vanilla game. So if we walk through the door, I have to jump over the doorstep. You can see that it is really tiny here. There's a bed in the corner. Let me just close the door here for a second. Oh, actually, I couldn't make like this big round door, so instead I just created a wooden door in a two element door. Let me see if I can light a fire here. That always looks a bit more cozy. So this is my cooking station, tiny little cuisine, and here is a table where you can seat at least four hobbits. Because of course, you know, hobbits like company. So you always want to have a welcoming home, even if it is as small as this little hobbit home. So really, if you're on the inside, I have to say this does give me the feeling of having my own hobbit hole. And if I go outside and, whoops, can I walk out? What? For some reason I can't go over the threshold. If I close these doors, you see that it still kind of has that feeling of a regular hobbit door. I also added these green banners, and that's also a trick to make it look more hobbity from a distance, because of course when you think Hobbiton, you think of that big green door of Bilbo's home. And so, but you can't paint anything here in Valheim, so that's why I put those green flags, banners up in the distance. Next to that, I created a slightly different home. I tried to make every hobbit hole a bit different. So this one has a gate that you can open, only for party business, of course. And this one has a different location for the kitchen. It's right in front of you. It's just a kettle. And then here on the right is a workbench. So this is for a more creative type of hobbit. And if I turn around, there is a round table with some food. And I guess this hobbit just sleeps on the ground. Here is some gold and some treasure chests that this so this hobbit may have been on an excursion to, I don't know, help some dwarves. And so here is a door, a wooden gate, but it leads to nothing. Well, actually it does. There is a hidden chair. This is, I forgot that I put it there. This is in case you get like Gandalf or something, or dwarf that just wants to sit in a nice stone chair that reminds him of the mines of Moria. But you can also hide it from view. I can't really do any corridors because, as I said, you can't really dig into the mountain. But look at the nice view from here. So this is only the first level of my Hobbiton. You overlook the sea. So this is a kind of a coastal hobbit village. And right there in the middle is the party tree. And before we go up, I might actually show you around. So this is a place to hang out. Oh, why is he sitting down? I guess he's just tired. Let's speed up a little bit. So you can dance around the tree, of course. It's just one of those big trees, like the party tree in Hobbiton. So this is where the village gathers for their parties, and of course to eat and to, you know, buy stuff. So this is a little market stall with some magic mushrooms and carrots and fruit you can buy here. I don't know what's in these boxes. And of course, hobbits are thirsty, so they like to have a beer and drink something. So this is where normally the beer vendor would be. But there is no party going on. Everybody is out the door. So that's why there is no personnel. Now this is a little stage. Hobbits really like their performances, their plays. So I created a stage. And if you have a few other players, you can actually perform here on this stage, and the spectators can sit on those little stools. Next to that, of course, when you're done watching the theater, it's time to eat. What would a hobbit market be without a big table? So this is a party table with the food already in place. Now, At night, it can get very cold. As you can see, it is, already getting a bit darker. It is a fresh morning. Or is it evening? I don't know. I think it's still morning, but you can see the stars. So you can also sit here at the fire and warm yourself up late at night. So this fire is also a nice way to keep the animals away. This area is pretty safe, but every once in a while you will get nasty goblins trying to attack you, and so this fire scares them away. This is a little what is this? I know it has a name, but I don't know. I don't remember what it's called. And on the other side of the creek, so this is a very small river, so I can just jump over it. I don't need to have a bridge. Here is another. Oh, that's one of those creepy crawlers. Well, it's only open for party business, so he can't get in. This is why I have these separations, these gates, because I don't want these nasty, creepy animals to walk all over the place. This is the smallest Hobbit house. Again, it has a slightly different configuration, and this one kind of turns around the corner also. It looks very, very small. The entrance is only like 2/3 of the other two Hobbit homes over there in the distance, but let me show you on the inside. It's actually bigger on the inside. Let me close the door. Check that out. Let me just light a fire here so you can see. Here's a nice table where you can sit with your friends. And then the secret of this home, here's my bed. You can go down the stairs, and here's a separate hearth. So you can also come down here and maybe sit here or cook something or whatever, read a book. So I'm very proud of this house because of this lowered area. It is actually on the inside. It is a lot bigger than it seems. And you've got a back door. It's the only house, the only Hobbit home with 2 entrances, or 1 exit and 1 entrance. So this is actually my favorite Hobbit hole because it feels small enough for a Hobbit, and yet you can still move around there. So it was a really big challenge to create Hobbit homes that were actually functional. I can make, of course, a front just as decoration, but I wanted something that you could actually live in. So that's what I did. Now, in order to get up the hill, I created a staircase here, a wooden staircase. Now, hobbits normally don't like staircases, that everything is flat. But since this is kind of a hybrid Hobbit Viking world, I had to create these stairs in order to get to the higher levels. So from here, you get a nice view of the party tree and the marketplace. So this is where usually the inhabitants, the villagers that live more upscale would come down to the marketplace. And so here on this medium level, there's a bit of a meadow. So maybe I'll create some fences here, and so I can put some sheep. Well, there are no sheep in Valheim, but maybe some pigs or boars. Or deers, I don't know exactly. Can you breed deers? Maybe I can. And then you just walk up to the next level. So this is kind of the medium level. There are also a few Hobbit houses. There's a windmill there that I really like. And since there's an opening between these trees, it actually catches some wind. So that's very, very nice. And here too, you can go inside. Now I've got a blue decoration on the inside. This one also looks very small, but is also slightly bigger on the inside. It's not a TARDIS, but it's kind of the same thing. This Hobbit likes to grow onions. So there's a small garden with a fence around it, so it doesn't get destroyed by orcs or wild animals, wild beasts. You can enter here. There's a nice carpet on the floor and a table for 3. And here on the left is actually a place where you can roast your meat. So and it has I don't know if you can see it. It has an opening on the other side as well. So you can sit here and get some warmth, but it gets its oxygen from the opening on the side. And if you walk to the left side of the building, you can see that there's even a place where you can just hide under or shield yourself from the rain or hail or snow. And even in the winter, you can just take a chair and sit here and you will still be nice and warm and covered. So, and then from here, you still have a beautiful view of the surroundings. You see the sea and then a little bit of the valley below. So again, I like this house. You can also sit here like Bilbo did on this bench and wait for a wizard to pass by and tell you that he's looking for someone to join him in an adventure. Going inside here, and there is a door on this side. Here is a chest. And this door leads to the backyard. This is where I can grow my crops, or in this case, the onions. And so this is only accessible from inside the house, which makes it very safe. So let's go outside. I can leave the door open because right now there's no one is home. No, actually, I'll close this door. There you go. So that is one Hobbit home. Now let's follow the path. This, of course, ultimately will be a path that continues into those woods over there. So if Gandalf is wanting to visit us, it'll be easy for him to arrive here on his horse. This is a nice staircase, a little bit more elaborate. This is a stone staircase. And here is yet another Hobbit house. So let's explore this one. This one also has a round circular table, some chests, and this one actually is very small. There's no bed. So this could be like a meeting place for, I don't know, villagers. And then here on the left side is something that actually is a chimney, is supposed to be a chimney, but I couldn't find a way to make a stone chimney that is that I can actually use, because these blocks of stone are pretty solid. They're very very big. So that is the medium level of my Hobbiton place. Now, I haven't finished the path yet, so I'll just have to walk across the field here. Look at the beautiful windmill, and I can continue walking all the way up. So this is another path, and up here is a representation of Bilbo's house. And I'm actually very, very proud of this one, because I wanted to make something that would be as big as Bilbo's house. Now, you know that Bilbo had like the biggest house in Hobbiton. He was a very rich hobbit, even richer when he had helped the dwarves and had his share of the treasure. So, but I think he inherited his hobbit home from family, and this is a really big one. So I wanted to make something that was interconnected, and at the same time, it should still at least give you the impression that it is underneath the hill. So this was very, very challenging. Now this all looks still very barren. I have to plant some trees there, maybe add some grass. But here is the famous entrance to Bilbo's homestead. You can walk up the stairs. These doors normally would be closed. Of course, since he has a lot of money, he replaced his green door with this beautiful dark wood gate. I created these circular forms, so you can tell that this is definitely the house of a rich hobbit. It looks much more elaborate than the hobbit homes below in the valley. So let's go in, and this one follows more or less the fictional interior of Bilbo's house. The only difference is that this one shouldn't be here, actually, the workbench. But I put it there because I'm still building here, and you need a workbench in order to build. But here you have the famous wardrobe where the dwarves can hang their coats. And as you can tell, there are these different colored robes and coats or overcoats that remind you of the visit of the dwarves. And there are two ways to proceed. You can actually go straight to the living room, or you can take this small corridor that leads to the kitchen. So you can go straight to the kitchen, or you can go to the living room. So for now, let's go to the kitchen first. There's this other, this is a bit of an open space. I didn't know what to put there, so I put another stone chair. I may change that over time. Maybe make a cupboard there. So here is a door. This leads to nothing right now. So it's a bit of a fake door, but you could imagine that there is a guest room there, or maybe Bilbo's bedroom. And here we are in the kitchen, which of course is a very important place for hobbits. You've got the pans there. Here's the table where Bilbo can eat his food. There's an oven there. And of course, I'm still decorating the shelves with some food that he can eat or serve to friends. Here are some pies. He really likes to bake stuff, and he's got bread. There's always something to eat. And then here is the entry to the pantry. So let me show you this. So you see how big it is? So here I created all sorts of shelves where you can put your fruit. So I haven't gathered enough yet, but here is some honey and jam, some pies, and here of course is a fermenter. So this is where Bilbo brews his beer or something, or maybe his potions. So now let's go from here. Once you're done cooking, then of course you want to share that with your guests in the living room. And this is the living room. This one also corresponds to the layout of Bilbo's house, or Bilbo's home. The window is slightly ajar. There is a table here, and I am very proud of this. This is a fully functional chimney. So there's actually a chimney going up, and the smoke can get out, which is always a bit hard to do in Valheim, to make sure that there's a good way for the smoke to get out. Otherwise, your house will be filled with smoke, and you'll suffocate. So you can cook here, or just sit. I like this circular form or shape. And then here are some shields, just some souvenirs from Bilbo's travels. Here is a nice chair where Bilbo can just sit and ponder, reflect, or read or write. And then, of course, here we've got more flasks and drinks. This should actually be more of a bookcase, but I haven't figured out how to make books in Valheim yet. So, and this is the only Hobbit home with curtains. Again, this is a rich Hobbit, so it makes sense that he has curtains. Not all Hobbits are able to afford that. So there you go. This is the living room. And then here is, I'm still working on this. Oh, wait a minute. I finished this. I forgot about this. There's another room. Look how big this is. Wow. This is Bilbo's bedroom. So I totally didn't remember that I created this. And this is, again, a nice big bedroom where, well, if you're tired, you can sleep, but it's in the middle of the day. And then, of course, something to drink if you're thirsty during the night. And some weapons. This is probably a bow that he got from an elf, or maybe Legolas gave it to him. A chest. And so, there you go. That is a tour of Bilbo's homestead. I really like the way this turned out. And then, of course, there's also the outside, because there's a bit of a garden. Lots and lots of flowers. So Bilbo's house needs to look really nice from the outside as well. If I climb up this hill, you may be able to see how I did the configuration. In case you want to build your own Hobbit homes, always makes sense to show you a bit the overall construction. So you see that these roofs are all more or less circular, and every once in a while there's a tiny chimney, just to make sure that there is a way for the smoke to get out. I'm actually not supposed to do this, and this is another way to create a chimney. So it's still covered, so from below, but since you always have that perspective, if you're, on a normal Hobbit level, you won't be able to see this opening, but you will see the rooftop. So it still feels like this is a Hobbit hole covered with, well, in this case, straw, but it has an opening so the smoke can get out, and it functions. It's not always possible to completely cover everything, so there may be some holes, but all in all, this works really well. So let me just try to get off. And there is still room for maybe another expansion, although this is the bedroom, top of the bedroom, so you can see how I dug out this this part of the rock. And I always make sure not to cut out too much, because then you kind of lose that idea that it's built into the hill. So from here, it's a very different view from if I go and look up the house. From here, especially with the trees in the background, that kind of covers that rock wall, the rock face that is not very nice. So I planted some trees very, very close to the Hobbit hole, and that kind of covers it up. The mountain, or the hill, actually continues a little bit more up there. There may actually even be a mountain behind it, but because of the trees, you can't really tell. So this works well. Here you can see that chimney is closed, and there's no way to turn that into a real chimney. So let's go downstairs. Let's go down the hill again. And walk back to where we started this. I have to be careful here. I probably need to make this a little bit safer because, well, you're not supposed to go down the hill there. You need to take the stairs. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to go down the stairs all the way to the first level, go over the bridge, and let's grab a beer. I'm thirsty. And so from here, if you are standing underneath the party tree, or even if you sit down, you get an even better perspective. And this really, at least to me, looks like Hobbiton, with all these different levels, the nice weather, the grass, the trees, the little Hobbit homes. One of my future projects would be to create a road that goes to the right, and I might recreate Bree, or build a slightly bigger town that would not be inhabited by hobbits but by humans, and to see if I can recreate the Prancing Pony and some of those iconic buildings there. That is an even bigger project, but it might actually be easier from an architectural point of view because I don't have to mess around with these hills trying to build into the mountain, because Bree is more in a valley. So that's going to be a big project because of the amount of buildings that I will have to build. So there you go. There you have it. This is my Hobbit town that I wanted to share with you. And in case you want to know a little bit more about how I made those homes, maybe just leave me a comment if you'd like to have me make a tutorial on how to make a small Hobbit hole. But maybe you can also already figure it out by just looking back at the video and during the tour, kind of see how I did this. It's not very hard, and the more Hobbit homes you build, the easier it gets. So I hope you enjoyed this, Let me take a look at the comments here. We've got Michiel, who's there. Claudia, hi. Leonardo. Margot. Steve is there. Technic. Thomas is there. Rohan. Oh, that's a fantastic idea. I should build Rohan as well. In the plains, yes. So I need to find a spot in this world where you have plains and surrounded by mountains. That would be the most perfect spot. And then I can create a big, I should find like a place. This is going to be hard to find. A place that is a bit slightly elevated, but not a mountain yet. So I can build this Rohan town on top of that. That would be fantastic. So I used the creative mode to build a lot of this because, as you can imagine, this would an Erebor. Oh my gosh, I can feel that this becomes a big project. So if you want me to continue this, I have no idea who's watching this on my YouTube channel, but if you want me to continue and do more, let me know in the comments or give this video a thumbs up. I think the more views it gets, the more interaction, the more it will help me know that this is something that you would want me to do more of. So let me go back to the village here. But thank you so much for your time. And if you're watching this after the fact, I hope this inspired you. And if you'd like to see more of my stuff, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And leave me a comment. I'd love to know if this is the first time you're watching this channel, how you found this. And if you have any ideas for other projects that you'd like to see me do here in Valheim. All right, that wraps it up. And yeah, we could also do like a semi-public server and build this out. So yeah, you know what? If you want to help me build Middle Earth in Valheim on this server, leave me a comment and let me know how I can find you on Steam, or leave your Steam name. I will add you, and then yeah, we can make a nice community. And I think if we work together, we could probably do this much faster. How cool would it be if we could actually dig into the mountains and create the Bazadum? How cool would that be? The Mines of Moria. But of course, there are already caves in Valheim, but unfortunately, you can't build inside those caves. So I think that yeah, once we have the Mistlands, we can add all sorts of Hobbit-inspired dwellings. All right. Thank you for your time, and we'll talk soon.